Welcome to this tutorial for the Halo dropship for MSFS. This tutorial is from a runway start with engines on, and I plan my flight in the world map before starting the flight. The dropship does have autopilot, but it doesn't have a button for nav mode, so before your first flight you'll need to assign a hotkey for autopilot nav 1 hold. Takeoff is super easy. By default the dropship is in vertical takeoff and landing mode. Increase the throttle and you leave the ground. You can raise the landing gear at this point as well. After vertical takeoff you can switch flight mode to normal, and almost immediately you'll want to activate altitude hold mode to stabilize the dropship. We now press the hotkey we assigned earlier, autopilot nav hold, and the dropship starts to follow the flight we planned in the world map. We'll also activate auto throttle to stabilize our speed. As shown here, you can use the speed mac dial to adjust your speed using the auto throttle. Initially we'll set it to about 300 knots, and we'll also use the selected altitude dial to set our desired altitude. For a dropship, 12,000 feet seems a sensible height. Your desired speed and desired altitude are displayed in pink on the PFD, which is the screen on the right hand side. If we now hit vertical speed mode, the dropship will climb to our desired altitude. If you want a little more detail about where you're going, you can increase and decrease the map range on the left MFD by using the dial to the left of the screen. At 12,000 feet the dropship levels off. If you want to adjust your altitude during flight, use the altitude adjust dial and then hit vertical speed to implement that change. At any point during flight you can use the speed mac dial to adjust your desired speed. For cruise we're going to set it to about 350 knots. It seems to be the top speed of the dropship. Assuming you're cruising at 350 knots and 12,000 feet, you'll want to start your descent when you're about 20 miles from the airport. I'll do this by adjusting my desired speed down to 185 knots and adjusting my desired altitude to 2,000 feet above ground level. For an airport at sea level, that's 2,000 feet. I'll then hit vertical speed and the dropship will begin to descend while slowing down. When you reach 2,000 feet and 185 knots, drop the landing gear. We're now going to vector the dropship in heading mode to point ourselves at the runway. To do this, initially we'll use the heading dial to select a heading that's about 90 degrees to our runway. Your desired heading is shown by the rotating cursor on the outside of the ring on the left MFD. You can see that our airport is just off to the left, and we're now aiming for a point that's directly in front of it. We activate heading mode and the dropship turns to follow our heading. Once the airport is directly off to your left or right, you can make another 90-degree turn to point yourself directly at the airport. Keep the autopilot on while you head towards the airport, then switch it off when you get close and guide yourself precisely to the runway. We're going to land in vertical mode, so when we are above the runway, we'll change our flight mode back to VTOL. And just like a helicopter, point your nose slightly forward and reduce your throttle to bring yourself down to the runway. Hopefully you'll make a smooth touchdown, and that concludes your successful flight in the Halo dropship for MSFS. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please drop a like and feel free to subscribe, as I make this kind of content fairly regularly. Take care and I'll see you next time.